Hi there, it's Michelle here. I hope you're doing really well today. I am hopping on this Facebook Live to talk to you because the doors to Intuition Circle are open for a few more days. And so every day I'm doing a Facebook Live to talk about Intuition Circle and give you a little taste of the kind of things we do inside of the group. So Intuition Circle is my online psychic and intuitive development program for women. It is a monthly membership, so you can try it for 1 month and just come in and explore the master classes, the mentoring, and the awesome community and get a vibe and a feel for it. And if you like it, you'll probably stay. And if it's not for you, I am happily will give you your money back in the first 30 days. So that's what Intuition Circle is. If you're here, just hop on and say hello in the chat if you can. What we're doing today is, where do your intuitive messages come from? How to know where your intuitive messages are coming from. So how many of you are even interested in that subject? Is that an interesting subject? I don't see anything in the comments yet. Oh, there's Rose. Awesome. Okay, so I know the chat's working. So I'm just going to share with you what I believe about this, where intuitive messages come from. I teach based on my experience. There's way more answers out there than I know, right? Like I'm not a guru at all. I know you know that, but I just want you to know, like, I only teach based on what I've experienced, in learning myself based on my own experience becoming a psychic, working as a medium, all the studies and schools that I've been to. This is what I base my experience on. And honestly, I base most of what I teach based on me implementing my studies and then my feedback working with people and the patterns that I see with people. Okay, so where do your intuitive messages come from? This is also known in mediumship as the source of message. And let's break this up a little bit. How do I want to do this? You know, there's intuitive work, there's psychic work, and there's mediumship work. And there's all other kinds of works, but these are the three that I work with mostly. Intuitive work, when we think of intuitive work, I'm just going to simply define that as you using your intuition to get clear about your life, to make decisions and go in the directions that work for your life. That's what I mean by intuitive. When I think about the source of intuitive messages, here's my belief about that based on my experience. Some of that comes from me. Some of my intuitive messages come from me based on my experiences. Some of those intuitive messages come from my spirit guides. It's a relationship that I've built with them. Some messages come from my loved ones in spirit, who I think are loving and supporting me in spirit. Now that's more mediumship. Sometimes when I'm working with a client, their spirit guides can come in. Not often, but somebody in Intuition Circle brought this up, and it's been happening to me more and more that I'm connecting with other people's guides. The main source of my messages, so let me just stop there. So those are some of the ways. Some of those are some of the sources of messages. Do you guys have any more? Awesome! I just see some people because I have my eyes closed. Alex, how are you? Paula, Athena, Deborah, Larissa. I think I just sent you a message inside of Intuition Circle. I hope you got that. So those are some of the sources of messages. Now, in mediumship, so mediumship is just talking to people who've crossed over, and a lot of empaths have the ability to talk to dead people. It's just how we're wired. And some people, that scares them. Some people don't know that they have that ability, and they think they have anxiety or other things going on. And some people just know that that's a fact. Some people are not interested in that. Some people are, and it's all good. It's all good. So in mediumship, the source of messages source of the message seems to be even more important. So in mediumship, I'm kind of tapping into it so I can share it with you. In mediumship, when I call on, when someone wants to connect with their loved one in spirit, I call in that spirit if I can, but I'm not even sure if I have that spirit. I have to give some identifying information. I've got a male or a female. This person died at this age. I don't really get how they died because I'm squeamish and I don't want to know those things. So I don't usually ask that question, but I'll get things like, show me your relationship to this person. Are you a grandfather, aunt, uncle, something like that? What else will I get? I can get like how they felt about if they had grandchildren, or I can feel the family ties. Those things are important to me. I can sometimes tell what a type of job somebody has. So anyway, I get those identifiers to make sure I've got the right spirit, and that the sitter is the person who's getting the reading can identify those so that we both understand we've got the right person here. Now we know the source of that message, right? The source of that message is the person in spirit. Does that make sense? So in mediumship, it's a little bit different. Also in mediumship, what can come, there's different structures in mediumship, but sometimes we have these, what they're called gatekeepers, which a spirit stands for you and allows certain spirits to come in and connect with you so you don't get overwhelmed. And even the gatekeeper can sometimes talk to me about the person. So the source of the message there is the gatekeeper and not necessarily the spirit. Does that make sense? Am I rambling? Let me think. Alex says, I think I receive messages in my dreams. Yes, Alex, very much so. Very much so. In fact, in a couple days, I just posted this in Intuition Circle, but next month in Intuition Circle, we're doing an entire month of dream recall, dream interpretation. How do you remember your dreams more consistently? And what does dreaming really represent? That's happening. We just posted all that information in Intuition Circle. So I have the link to Intuition Circle above. If anyone is interested, you'll get all the details. Okay, Larissa, you got my message. Awesome. Tasha says, I have had so many messages, hearing, seeing, knowing, no clue why. So Tasha, I want to ask you this. Are you interested in knowing why? Yes or no? I bet you are, because you wouldn't be here with me right now if it wasn't something that you're supposed to learn more about, right? Shirley says, are you giving readings? I'm not giving readings, Shirley. I'm just explaining about the source of messages and readings. Shannon says she's understanding, and Seta said, I do too. Awesome. Sometimes I feel like I'm rambling, and hopefully I'm clear enough. What else do I want to say about either the source of messages? Oh, I know what I want to say. When you're a beginner at developing your intuition, and I'm best with beginners. Intuition Circle's more for beginners, someone who's just starting out and wanting to learn about their abilities. When you're a beginner, we really want to know, like, where did that come from? How did I know that? Because that's what happens. Everyone gets excited and a little like what you believe about yourself gets a little shifted because you're starting to see that you're capable of so much more, which is what we all want. We want that for all of us. We have so much potential in us, and Intuition Circle is just a way for you to see that. So sometimes when someone first develops their abilities and they get that, I'm like, Michelle, where's this coming from? They really want to know the source of the message. And that's fine. Eventually, as someone develops, the source of the message isn't so important. So I've been working at this for a long time. I don't really worry too much about the source of messages anymore, except if I'm doing mediumship. I want to know I have the right spirit. I don't want to just haphazardly give information, but I don't have the identifying information. So, but if I'm doing psychic work, or if I'm talking with one of you right now, I just close my eyes and let that information flow through me. I just let that happen, and I don't worry too much about the source of the message anymore. Sometimes though, if I'm working with someone and I don't know what to do with them, like I feel blank, I will close my eyes and I have this line of guides on this side of me, and I'll just say to them, what do I do? How do I help this person? And every single time, one of them will step out of line and say, ask her this, tell her this. They'll give me something and I go, okay. And I just bring that information through, and then that gets the ball rolling and we get some more healing and clarity in that session going. And then I know the source of that message because those are my guides. Does that make sense? My guides change depending on what's going on in my life and even depending on who I'm working with that day. Okay, so I hope that was helpful in terms of source of message. And let's see. Tasha says, can you please tell me why this is happening? Why you are getting messages of hearing, seeing, knowing? You want me to tell you why it's happening? It's because you're psychic. Empaths are the intuitives and psychics. It's a natural ability they have, and you're getting it because that's how you're wired. Does that make sense? I'm trying to think of a good analogy to that. I can't think of one. It's just you're wired that way, and that's why it's happening. Missy says, I get messages all the time, but don't always know who they are for. Yep. And that's just part of development, Missy. As you hone your abilities, that gets clearer and clearer. Although not 100% clear. I still don't always know. But I'm much more in control of it now. Rose says, how can you tell between personal fear blocks and an actual message that you shouldn't do something? Example, taking a part-time job. So you'll have to watch, I think that was yesterday's video or 2 days ago, Rose, but I'll quickly say this. When you're sitting there, let's say you're giving yourself a moment and you're sitting there, if you can feel that fear, if you can feel that block, I don't trust my messages in that. I take myself through processes to release the fears and the blocks. And then I get this feeling of feeling neutral. And then I pull in that question of the part-time job, if that's what my thing was. And then there's a lot of different techniques. Like this would be a good one for a technique that I teach in Intuition Circle called the 2 roads technique. And so there's different things that you can be, what's the word? Like active within your imagination, active within your intuition. So some people would just sit there and go like this, should I take that job? And it's almost like you're on the phone, but you're not saying anything. So what I want you to do is, should I take that part-time job? Notice if any feelings come up, release those, go back to neutral, ask that question again. And then you can even become active and do things like the 2 roads technique, or you can go down those different roads of taking the job or not taking the job. What other roads are available to me that I don't know, that I haven't been made aware of yet? And that's really using your intuition. And then again, any fears that pop up or things, you can notice those and clear those. Okay, I know I'm not getting to all these and I apologize. Maria says, sometimes I can see faces. Maria, that's a sign of intuitive development. It's usually the beginning stages of development. And for me, or most people who talk about it, it happens at night when we're sleeping. All of a sudden, it's just one face after another. And it's a little, some people are okay with it and some people don't like it. And just know it's a sign of you are developing your abilities. Shauna, I've suddenly started getting like the shape of who is wanting to give me information, but it's coming as more like animals from galactic collectives. Okay, let me read that again, Shauna. I've suddenly started getting like the shape of who is wanting to give me information, but it's coming more from animals, from galactic collectives. Good. Like, do you have a question around that? I don't even think you have a question. I think that's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. Is that a problem to you? Okay. Catherine, this will be the last one. How do I differentiate between imagination and messages? Such a good question. Catherine, here's my belief, and you see what you think. I believe that the space where we activate or tap into our imagination is the same space that we tap into our intuition and our messages. Does that make sense? They feel like the same space to me. And as I'm talking to you about that, I was confirming it in my own mind. And they're definitely in the same, like, where I focus my attention. And then maybe between those two, there's a little bit of differentiation between those. But I'm focused in the same space as I would if I said, imagine a tree. You know how if you closed your eyes and imagine a tree? It's that same thing. You can use your imagination to develop your intuition. In fact, which is what I hear inside of Intuition Circle all the time. I'll say, come on, let's get some intuitive information. And people will say, Michelle, I'm just making this up. There's no difference between this and my imagination. And I'll say, that's fine. Just use your imagination and give us some information right now. And it is shocking how accurate someone can be with using their imagination, which confirms to me is what the thing I always believed, is that they're the same thing. Now, there's a difference. So then I'm going to put a little caution on that. Maybe not a caution, but I really like to teach grounded. Like, I want to give people useful, grounded, real information in my readings. And I'm not judging anybody else. I'm not a big fan of like airy-fairy. Oh, and I see this and I see that and da-da-da-da-da. There's nothing wrong with that. And I probably do it sometimes. But I always want to pull it back to, like, my deepest intention is to help someone see their life more clearly, to take steps in the right direction in their lives, and just have the most fulfilling life and get on their life purpose. Like, that's my driver underneath a reading. And all that then gets grounded in. So Catherine, if I was reading someone and it felt like an imagination, and I see unicorns and I see bubbles and I see this, do you see how that feels really airy-fairy? I would let that come through, and then I would say to myself, I need some grounding information. How do we take this and how do we put it in a form that will really help her? And maybe unicorns and bubbles help people sometimes, and I don't want to judge that. Okay. One more. Okay, Cindy, I saw your question a few times. In December, my intuition was through the roof. I felt my unstable ex-boyfriend all around me. I felt he needed me. I felt he was trying to apologize. It was overwhelming and emotional. I was asking why now? It lasted 2 weeks until I found out that he died suddenly 8 days into those feelings. Yeah, I'm sorry that happened, but that probably makes a lot of sense to you now, why you were feeling those overwhelming feelings, right? That to me is psychic. And the stronger the emotion, the stronger the ability to see that psychic information. Okay, guys, I hope that was helpful. Tasha says, thank you for the help, Catherine. Thank you. Awesome. You're welcome. If you are interested in Intuition Circle, like I said, the doors are open now. They close Wednesday, so in 2 days. And every month we have a new masterclass where we practice the tools and techniques. We also have mentoring by me, and we have live readings. You give readings, you get readings, but don't freak out. You don't ever have to give a reading. You just be in the energy of people who are doing it and practicing, and I promise very quickly you'll give it a try too. We do it in such a safe way that you don't feel like you're put on the spot. And then we have the awesome community, and just the women inside of this community, this high vibing group, that we have this place to talk with like-minded people is awesome. So if you're interested, give it a try. I have the link up in the description above. It's a monthly membership, so you can try it for 1 month. If you are not happy with the masterclasses, mentoring, and community, I will happily give you your money back. No questions asked. But I think that's it. I think if you have any questions, let me know. I will say this. I've had hundreds of people reach out to me and private messaging me, and I was trying to keep up, but I can't keep up anymore. So if you're one of those people, unfortunately, I just won't be able to get back to you. So if you know that this is something you're interested in, Intuition Circle, please give it a try for a month. Inside of that, we have a private Facebook group where I'm in there every day talking with people, and I'll be able to help you, communicate with you, talk with you. But this group has gotten so big, which is awesome. So the private messaging and talking to people in our group here, that is 70,000 people, has become a real challenge. So hopefully that's helpful. And if you want to connect with me, please try Intuition Circle, and I can work with you more closely there. Okay, have a great day, everybody. Bye.